Secretary ARPG for having let the cat out of bag. And reminding me that I am a pensioner, and also reminding me of the hard fact that compared to my peers, I got lesser pension because I took a VRS and lost out on at least 2 big commissions. So, but nevertheless, I think that was a good demonstration. You saw how efficiently it was done. I didn't even have to do anything. Somebody else came and got it generated within a few seconds. And that is, I think, on an average not taking more than 30-40 seconds. And if you feed all the data, then it doesn't take even that. Many of the smarter techie savvy persons, they feed their data beforehand and just during the camp just click the photograph. Now this is one of the unique experiments and novel experiments which has been cited globally, a success story which is now also being emulated by other countries. We have had delegations of civil servants from different countries, including Maldives, Mongolia, from time to time. And they come here and they primarily voluntarily say that they are interested mainly in 2 areas, incidentally both of which belong to the domain headed by Mr. Srinivas. One is the DLC success story, the other is CP grants. And because this was a unique experiment of its own, in fact it all started in about 2014-15 when this government came in, because I was personally also of a very strong opinion that whether we should at all have a life certificate. So to me it sometimes appeared that it was not very human that you ask an elderly person to go and get the proof of his being alive. So having worked in a number of hospitals, I had the experience of people vying for the death certificate, not for the sake of the one who's dead, but for the sake of claiming the insurance and other benefits that come with the death certificate of the person on whom you are dependent. So they would say, अगर किसी के death बिहार में हुआ तो वो कहेगा इससे छुट्टी देते भाई डिस्चार्ज तो के साथ साथ death certificate भी लेते आना, नहीं तो दोबारा कौन लेने जाएगा. So that is the material, instinct of a mortal being. But you ask somebody, and then we started toying with this idea. Then Secretary Mr. Kothari spoke to him. Somehow he also discussed it with a couple of other colleagues. And then one day, someone from the banking sector who had known me for years came to look me up. And he said, I have heard you're toying with an idea like this. He said, no, it's not very fair because maybe the thought behind it is noble, but there are cases where misuse has happened. And he cited that because we were not very much into electronic era those days, and he cited one of the cases where they had come across an individual who had been claiming his father's pension. Though after the death of his family pension, he was claiming full pension for as long as 6 years because he had got all the checks signed. So he kept 2-3 checkbooks signed. So he said, yes, then I also realized that we are all children of the same society. Then we hit upon an alternative method of biometry, and then as the Indians have started living long now, the lifespan has increased. So after 75-80, the biometry may not be that reliable. So I think it's also a matter of pride that we are among the first possibly in the government sector for having used face authentication technology for a good cause. Earlier on, it got to be adapted before us by the criminal world, but we are the ones who have used it for a noble purpose. And because there were, in fact, elderly citizens who didn't have the means to go all the way to the bank. They didn't have a dependent who could carry them. In fact, I was the caretaker of a very elderly relative, a lady, and before she passed away, for several years I was doing this certificate for her. Since I was a doctor myself, so I could just write and get away with that, but everybody could not have done that. So, and now that the other reason is, which is very much aligned to what Prime Minister keeps telling us, that we are now in the journey to Viksit Bharat, that every citizen has to contribute depending on his capacities, his mind. And now retirement age at 60 is rather young by the standards of the population composition.